Welcome to City Life. It's really good to have you here with us today. Today on the program, we chat about Friday's big chip-in. We talk about why every mouthful matters. Rebecca from Break from the Quake and Sarah from Cholmondeley is here. But first, Kelvin Berryman from GNS Science. Good to have you on City Life.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now, the big question is, what's the possibility of another big quake here in Christchurch or Canterbury?
Yeah, it's the billion-dollar question. Multiple billions of dollars, the question, probably. We've had a pretty quiet month since things are settling down following June 13. There still remains, in statistics space, a pretty high probability of having another magnitude 5 to 5.9, say 5 plus, somewhere we're in the whole region, whole aftershock region, which is, you know, from Hororata all the way through to the city. Mm-hmm. The chances of a 6 plus, that's really the damaging earthquakes, they're diminishing by the month as we're not having them, down to maybe a 1 in 4 chance of magnitude 6 plus coming along sometime in the next year. Okay. Is the current thinking.
So is that because of the June 13 quake?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a spike because of that. I mean, that was one of these magnitude 6 plus. It was only just over 6 or just on 6. And so that in itself then, because that occurred, then that increases the chances for a short while that in fact it starts to be a bit of a cascade of those things. Okay. And it pushes the probabilities up for a short while. But we've now sort of returned in terms of these, as I say, these statistics back to something before June 13 came along. Okay,
so the June 13 6.3, was that expected?
In the sense that yes, it was expected in a very precise way, I would say no, but in a general way, somewhere within the region, it's not unexpected, shall we say. Okay. Which is not exactly the same thing, I know, but...
Right.
Yeah.
Now, looking back to September with our the large quake in September, right. So after something that big, there's always going to be a couple of sixes, is that the...
Usually one 6 on average, but then averages in global earthquakes don't usually, you know, it doesn't work out on average every time. This is starting to be pretty rich in terms of the number of large earthquakes, unfortunately, and unfortunately they've been down the city end of the aftershock region. So it tends off to be more like a bit of a cluster of earthquakes, which also is a bit more of a characteristic of areas that don't get earthquakes very often. You sometimes sort of, it's like opening Pandora's box a little bit. Once you have one, then it sort of has a little bit of a cascade sort of tendency. Okay. And we've moved into that by having, you know, really damaging 6.3 and followed by a 6 and lots of 5s. So it's quite full on as far as the sequence is concerned. But they are diminishing now post June 13th. You know, everybody's commenting, oh, you know, haven't felt one for a day or two. That's a good trend. Okay. But we can't say, yeah, we're done and dusted. We remember when we look back, we can remember that there was 3 and 4 months between these big events in the past. So we really do need to go over periods of months before we can get really confident that we're past the worst of it.
Now, I mean, the biggest one I've felt in a while was that one last week, the 4.3.
Right.
Now, I just feel, I mean, I don't know, obviously, anything about earthquakes.
Well, Cantabrians know an awful lot about earthquakes these days.
Well, we know how to feel them, don't we?
Yeah.
But for me, I just think if we haven't had an aftershock or you know, a substantial aftershock, that all the energy in the ground is sort of building itself up to explode. Would that be right?
Not really.
Completely wrong.
Not really. I mean, overall, we should have a diminishing trend. I don't know, made the comment that I really would like to have a few aftershocks happening, because then you could sort of track what's happening a little bit. When everything just goes quiet, that's sort of in some sense the lull before the storm sort of psychological feeling rather than a physical basis to that. But it's always good from a seismological point of view to say, oh yes, there was one here and one there, and that's normal, that's what we expect, and whatever. When things don't happen, you don't know what to expect. So it's just good to track things as they go along.
That's right. Now, I mean, as you said before, like, I'm still feeling quite cautious that there's going to be another earthquake. Yeah. But should I let my guard down just yet?
No, don't. I mean, yeah, relax a bit, but don't let your guard down completely. the be prepared stuff is still important. Canterbury's still feeling quite a lot of earthquakes. Be prepared. It's a very long time now to continue to be, prepared. It's I do see, I'm from out of town, but you do see the ongoing stress of just, it's like sleepless nights for, months and months and months, and that's so we would like it to be over and to be, for people to be able to relax, but not just yet. But some positive things are that, of course, there's some of the old buildings that were earthquake risk buildings aren't there anymore. People are not occupying the really earthquake risk buildings anymore for, all sorts of reasons. So where people are living now, they've been through some really serious earthquakes and they've gone through those now quite well. And so that should provide some confidence that where people are living, they're pretty robust. Situations. So.
Now we are 10 months on from the big one, coming up to a year in just a couple of months' time. When will these aftershocks sort of die down?
They'll die down if we don't have more sixes that sort of re-energise the whole system. There'll still be aftershocks that will be above the old pre-September background level for Canterbury. They'll go on for years. Okay. But they'll be, start being, oh yeah, we had a magnitude 3 last week or something like this. Right. The stuff that people are now thinking, well, that's not really even worth waking up for. That will go on for years. The damaging aftershocks, will tail away quite quickly. If we don't have sixes, then you start not to have the fives. And then you don't have the fours, and then you don't have the threes. Okay. So it really comes from the fact of if we stop having the big damaging 6 and 6+, then we'll start getting back to this sort of background, where Wellingtonians sort of, as a Wellingtonian, we think we live sort of fulfilling lives in Wellington, maybe. And, earthquakes, small earthquakes are part of our pretty everyday lives. Yeah. We don't think too much of it. Yeah. And I think that's going to be the new Canterbury for going forward over a period of decades after a while.
Now, finally, just looking at Kenring, for example, how helpful is what he's saying for people here in Canterbury?
In my view, it's not really helpful at all, in the sense that he's saying you turn the switch on or you turn the switch off. Well, the Earth doesn't work like that. There will be further aftershocks. They will, we hope, die away, but there's still a possibility, from a physical sciences point of view, of still having a magnitude 6. Okay. And we've got to be prepared for that, rather than saying, oh no, we're done and dusted now we can relax. Okay. I think that's a really dangerous message to say we're done, we're finished, and therefore not be as cautious as we should, or have that plan for your family, and what do you do if there's an earthquake, and carry your cell phones and keep being organised.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And does it have anything to do with the moon?
In a few parts of the world, around places like volcanoes and hydrothermal systems, hot spring systems in volcanoes surrounded by the ocean, where everything is very, very close to failure, there has been a correlation with the tidal pressures. In situations like this here in Christchurch, the forces due to the tide are so insignificant that it has no bearing whatsoever on it. I mean, we're talking about earthquakes here that are generated at 10 kilometres depth. It's got 10 kilometres of really hard rock over the top of it, and the idea that the tide going up and down by 2 metres on top of all of that is making things happen, it's just not physically possible. Right. Yeah.
And the main focus for GNS at the moment?
Continuing to monitor the earthquakes, but the science community is involved in a whole range of things, a lot of analysis of building damage, thinking ahead into the rebuild and what sorts of things have worked well and what sort of things haven't worked very well. So a lot of engineering going on as well, a lot of social science work going on, understanding where people are, what their impacts have been, as well. So as well as all the physical science stuff up the front end, there's actually quite a lot in our research agenda that goes all the way through to that, the impacts on people and where are they, impacts on education, tourism. Okay. Yeah, lots
Wow.
of stuff.
Big job.
Yeah, well, I don't do it all, that's for sure.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Kelvin, really good to have you on the programme today.
It's a pleasure.
Now it's great to have back on the programme Bevan James Isles.
Oh, you got the whole name.
I got the whole name. I've never called you Bevan James Isles before, so it's going to start.
You can do it if you want.
Hey, you pulled into the car park in a big truck.
Yeah, I've become a truck driver. I've given up fitness, and I just thought, new career. No, I'm moving house today, so yeah, me and my lover, and we bought a house together, and we're moving today. So I literally came here, and then I'm going to pick up a house.
Oh,
so.
that's really lovely. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, your top is blinding me.
I know. I just thought you needed your day brightened up, so I just come in and lighten your day up. So.
I can't even look at you anymore. All right, what are we chatting about today?
So I thought I'm going to actually kind of do a bit of kind of self-promotion stuff here, and so. I'll take you back a step. A while ago, a friend of mine who was in the fitness industry called Mid's this kind of really outgoing, kind of fun lady, and really outgoing, but also quite a deep, intelligent person. And we sat down, we're having this conversation around our industry, and we're saying how the fitness industry, we're kind of failing. Like, if you look at, ideally, we're meant to be making people healthier and fitter, and if we're doing our job well, the population as a whole is getting healthier and fitter.
But surely people need to want to do that.
Yeah, but we still want to create, good point. So obviously a bit of self-responsibility comes in there as well, but some of the products we're creating for the public are keeping people away. And so, like, for example, myself, I have some running products. I have a product called Race Team, which is a 10-week program to a half marathon, and I have Saturday runners, which is quite appropriate, really.
I see.
Yeah, and I have a Saturday running group that I run all the time. Now, those products are really good, but they seem to cater for people who are already kind of fit or into fitness, and these kind of products aren't attracting people who aren't into fitness, and why is that? Well, I think one of the things is that a lot of the barriers people have around fitness, when you look at these types of products, it puts so many barriers in front of them. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to design a product that was totally for people who are non-exercisers or totally new to running. Like really a real basic product. And so I've designed a product called Get Up to 5. Now, Get Up to 5 is an 8-week program that gets people from walking up to running 5Ks within 8 weeks.
Cool.
And what we do is we do three sessions a week with coaches, and we have like lots of coaches, and we teach you how to run technique, and all this kind of stuff. But the sessions start off, like the first week, the sessions start off where you do 30 seconds of running and 2 minutes of walking, and you do 7 sets of that. So it's really achievable levels. And then what we do is we just gradually build that in a progressive way that makes it achievable and believable, so that people can actually get it.
So people can go from walking to running in 8 weeks?
Yeah, totally, in 5Ks. And that's the thing, is like we've designed the program so that the key work is when you're with coaches in the group environment. And one thing I'm a real big believer in is that the social of sport, the social of, like if you're catching up with your mates, it's a lot easier than turning up and going to the park and running by yourself. And so a big part of the businesses I create is, I want them to be fun, to be based on growth, and to have a real sense of community. And so what happens with these products that works really well is that everyone has a common goal and everyone's having a shared experience. So you're walking into an environment where you're all kind of heading towards the same place. So when you have a tough day, you can talk to the person next to you, or when you're out doing your training session, someone will give you a bit of, encouragement and stuff like that. Yeah. And so the whole idea of the product was, looking at some study that's been done recently, they're saying the people who have exercised for more than 6 years, all they want from their workout is intensity.
Right.
All they want is intensity. And if you look at people in our industry, we create products for that. We create products, high-end energy products. Yeah. But that really scares off the person who hasn't exercised. Yeah. And the person who doesn't exercise or hasn't exercised for a long period of time, all they need to feel is success. And so if you look at my industry, we're creating a lot of products for the people who've been doing exercise for 6 years and over, which works really well for their audience, but we're not creating products for the people who haven't been regular exercisers.
So let's look at this product that you have created now, because I'm actually really interested in that. Tell me more about what days of the week you're doing it.
So what we'll be doing is, first of all, it starts off when we'll do 2 seminars, and then each week we send you our emails and we give you education. So we kind of think, what are all the hurdles that you can think of in your head, and then how can we get you to overcome those hurdles? So we give you education through seminars and emails and so on. Then we have a Tuesday night session at around 5:40, and we always do that at Hagley Park, and then we'll do a Thursday night session at around 5:40 as well, and then we do a Saturday morning session. And those sessions there, we have like Christchurch's top run coaches, like the top athletes and top run coaches from Christchurch, and we're there and we're actually riding around on bikes, so we can get around all the athletes and give you feedback, motivation, encouragement, and that way we're getting you towards the steps. But the key really is the program is believable. Like you probably believe you can run for 30 seconds, you know, and walk for 2 minutes, you know. And I think most people listening to that, even the non-exerciser, believes that. And then what we do is we build the program that we make you feel successful along the way, and at each step is just a small step, so that, you know, while 5K might seem a big step early on, as you kind of go along, go, I can do this. And that's really what you want to do, is you want to create the sense of belief. And so the first step in the product is to go, okay, well, the first step is you have to believe you can do the first week, and you know, that's why we've designed it this way.
Cool. So when are you starting this?
Our first one will be starting on the 28th of August. So we've just started to put the website out there now.
Cool.
The website's getup5.co.nz.
Getup5.co.nz.
Yeah, and that can be words or a combination of numbers. We've had to buy so many domains, but so yeah, and because I really want to, you know, I want to if I can influence people, I really think my biggest way to influence people is influence a non-exerciser. I'm really good at the exerciser. Yeah. And so it's like now create a product for the non-exerciser. And yeah, we're really excited about it. We think it'll be pretty massive.
I'm really excited about this.
Yeah.
All right, getup5.co.nz.
Yeah.
Bevan James Isles, really good to have you on the program. Good luck with the move.
Thank you.
See you next week. After the break, we catch up with Sue from the Big Chip-In. You're back with City Life. Now, on Friday, I was wearing my Big Chip-In t-shirt, and Sue, you're wearing yours today. How did it go on Friday?
Look, absolutely amazing. It was just so good to get the feedback from, you know, I spent the day down in Christchurch and just getting the feedback from everyone. And I was sort of, you know, the idea was to give Christchurch and Canterbury a big bear hug, but I was really wrapped with the number of hugs I got as well. So, you know, it was great.
What was the idea behind it?
Well, it was about 3 weeks ago. It really occurred to me that, especially after June 13, that Westpac's got 900 staff down here, so we talk to the guys down here a lot, and I sort of really realised that people were actually feeling pretty, I would say, just about broken, and they've been through such a rough time, and I kept thinking, what can I do? You know, I can't sprinkle fairy dust, which is what I'd like to do, and have everything turn back time. But perhaps if I could galvanise the country into showing Christchurch and Canterbury, we still care, we haven't forgotten you guys at all, we're here to ride this journey with you, that would be good. So that was the whole idea of it. And just the way it's taken off on the day was just amazing.
So you had the idea, so what did you do with that idea? Did you just start talking to colleagues and friends? How did it sort of spread?
So look, I started talking to a few colleagues, and they said, look, yeah, I think you're really, really onto something, and actually even talked to some of the guys from CTV and Mainland Press. And, you know, it certainly became obvious to me that there was a lot of people around New Zealand who really did want to show they would care, and it was about letting people do it in the way they wanted to. Like, some people on the day just wore red and black, others called a friend, others booked a trip or did something through a Christchurch supplier, and that was the other message I was really, really keen to get out is, look, you know, despite Christchurch and Canterbury going through a rough time, actually a lot of people are open for business, and the best way we can support everyone is actually to book trips and do things and use Christchurch suppliers. Yeah. That's really, really good to do.
And tell me what you got up to on Friday here in Christchurch.
Well, I cooked a lot of sausages.
Did you?
And
I missed out.
I'm sorry, I even ate one or two, but it was really good. A lot of us came down from Auckland for the day and went round to various locations and gave out lollies and gave out sausages. And it was really, really great, even around to the soldiers looking after the CBD area and everything like that. Aww. So it was just showing, hey, look, you know, we're here to ride this trip with you guys, and it's a long haul, and being down there for the day, I realised still how raw it was as well. So, look, hopefully we made a few people smile, and that was also an aim.
Now, you have a Facebook page. Big Chip-In.
The Big Chip-In.
What's the feedback been on your page?
Oh, it's just been amazing. So, you know, we've had people from all around the country just saying what they were going to do on the day. Like, even some people moving flat and, hey, I'm going to donate my furniture to people. Like, I've got some spare blankets, I'm going to send it to the Salvation Army. And, you know, it was great. A lot of the corporates got on board, like KPMG collected some books and sent down to children. Massey University did a whole lot of things for their colleagues down here at Canterbury University. And Trade Me, you know, there's Kevin the Kiwi that's normally blue. He went red and black. And even our own Prime Minister John Key said, look, hey, you know, for only the second time in my life, I'm going to wear a red and black tie. So that was pretty good.
That's good. What's it like that you came up with this idea to see such support around the country for Christchurch?
Oh, look, it's just magic. Just, you know, because you sometimes think, oh, gosh, you know, am I out of tune? But, you know, I just thought, look, if I feel like this, I can't believe that a lot of other people around the country feel the same. And that's really come through. So I think it's just really evident. And I think the important thing is, though we've had this one day on Friday, we've got to keep this up. We've got to keep showing people down in Christchurch and Canterbury we care. So keep ringing people, keep using Christchurch and Canterbury suppliers. Don't forget those guys down there, they need us.
Yeah. Oh, Sue, your joy is contagious. It's so lovely. Thank you so much for what you've done for Christchurch.
Absolute pleasure.
Really good to have you here. After the break, we find out why every mouthful matters. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Rodney Ford, a children's doctor who specialises in nutrition and is here to explain about why every mouthful matters. Now tell me why. I mean, this is something I've never thought about before. Why does every mouthful matter?
Because healthy eating is something to be learned. We eat food because it's there, because we're hungry, because we're taught how to eat by our parents, and usually people don't think about what's in the food. And I heard the other day, a beautiful way of saying this, is that your body is your autobiography of your eating. And the French say, dig your grave by your teeth.
Wow, that makes me really think about exactly what I've eaten today.
Exactly.
I've eaten porridge. Now, how early, let's look at children's eating. How early should we be looking at feeding our children healthy food?
Yes, we should. Of course, they should be breastfed, first of all babies. I read an article yesterday saying that in America, a third of 9-month-old babies are already going towards obesity, which is huge. And that's because they're formula fed and they're given the wrong foods. They're given sweet foods full of carbohydrates for their solids when they should be given fruit and vegetables.
So you're a children's doctor. You work here in Christchurch.
I do, yes.
Now, what have the trends been over the years? Are children getting bigger and bigger?
Some children are getting bigger and bigger. People are eating the wrong food. I've got a dad, everyone's got a dad, and my dad's had a heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery. And that's a surprise to me because I didn't have a history of heart disease until my dad had a heart attack. And it gets people thinking, because why did he have a heart attack? Eating the wrong food. And why does he eat the wrong food? Because of his mother and my mother, his wife cooking food. And slowly, bit by bit, there's an accumulation of bad food when you should be eating good food. So every mouthful of his mattered, and when some crisis happens like that, you begin to think again, what should you be eating?
Is eating healthy something that comes naturally, though?
No, it isn't. We eat the food that's in front of us, and we eat because we're hungry, because it's comforting, because it's warming, because it's social. Just today, there's this sausage sizzle, and lots of sausages and bread have been given out. They might not be the most healthy choice, but everyone loves to eat them. So it's a matter of learning what your body needs. And we're not eating for today healthy food, we're eating for tomorrow, the next decade, and getting longevity.
Okay. So what can parents do about this?
Well, first of all, parents need to learn, or should learn, what to eat themselves so they can exactly mirror what their child should be eating. The mother who's breastfeeding, those tastes and flavours of her food coming through in her breast milk, the baby has the breast milk, and that is beginning to cue the baby even then as to what would be good to eat. So if mother eats a lot of sweet things, then the baby, when given solids, will want sweet things. But if the mother is a vegetarian, for instance, only eating fruit and vegetables, then the baby will be much more likely to eat fruit and vegetables, will accept them rather than reject them. So even that very early cueing is important.
So how do we know what's healthy? I'm sure we all know what's healthy and what's not.
Yeah.
But how do we make ourselves eat healthy food? We should start right now, first of all.
Well, talk about smoking. We all know it's not good to smoke, but 20% of the population are smoking because it's addictive. We all know not to eat too much fat, but it's so yummy that we eat it. We all know we should exercise, but most people don't. So everybody knows what to do. It's a matter of getting a strategy to add that new thing to your life. You've got to make way for something. You have to have conscious eating. So the issue is thinking about your death in the future, thinking about your health in the future, and thinking, if I eat this today, what will be the consequences in the future? And we have to learn these things.
I've never ever thought about doing something like that. I have to start thinking about everything I'm eating about. Is that what you would recommend to everybody?
Yes, abundant health through conscious eating is the byline on my webpage. And conscious eating is knowing what you're eating and knowing why you're eating it, more than just to fill a gap because you're hungry.
All right. Now, I know you've written a couple of books. Tell me about those ones.
Well, one of the first books I wrote was called The Energy Effect. I called it that because people want more energy. Everybody wants more energy. Even the energetic people want more energy, but a lot of people are tired. They feel sick, tired and grumpy. And they're feeling sick, tired and grumpy mostly because they're eating the wrong foods and not exercising. And so I've written a book called The Energy Effect to show people what they should be eating. It's quite a fun book. And a lot of it is in the mind, because if you haven't got anything to live for, then there's nothing to eat for. You may as well just eat because you're hungry.
Okay. And you've written another book as well?
I've written lots of books. The other flagship book is The Gluten Syndrome, because it's my research in my clinic and in the hospital that many people are upset when they eat gluten. Everyone's heard of celiac disease, or they should do. If they listen to this program, they will. 1 in 100 people at least get sick from gluten, that's in wheat, damaging their gut. And the symptoms of being sick, tired and grumpy, basically. And many people go through life unwell, thinking, well, it's just me, I've just got a $2 tummy, I don't have I'm just the way I am and it's just bad luck. And they say, well, poor Aunt Mary, well, she's a gastric person, whatever. And that person's been sick all their life from eating the wrong food. But because they're used to being unwell, they don't seek help because that's just who they are.
All right, I'm going to read more about this. What's your website so I can read more?
It's very easy. It's drrodneyford.co.nz.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to go and check it out after the program. Really good to have you on the program today.
Thank you
for coming in. After the break, we catch up with Rebecca with Break from the Quake. Welcome back, and I'd like to welcome back to the program Rebecca from Youthtown and her friends Darian and Michael Hurst-Long. Good to have you both on the program, and you as well, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Now, they're off to Auckland for a break from the Quake. Tell me about it.
Well, it's an initiative that Youthtown decided they wanted to do after the earthquake, and so we were really looking at how we might be able to assist people in Christchurch, and what we could do that would be really fun for young people. So we decided that maybe it would be a good idea to send them to Auckland for a camps in the school holidays. So yeah, just to get some fun and, like I say, take a break, from the quake.
Let's look at the young people who have been chosen to go. We'll chat with Darian and Michael in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But who were the people, who were you looking at? What was the criteria?
So there are 2 criteria. So firstly, we're looking at young people who needed time out. So that is really people who have been really affected by the earthquake. Maybe they've had to shift schools, they've lost their house, there's been a death in their family, something like that. It's really stressful and they just need some time away from Christchurch. And then the other criteria was for young people who have been contributing to their community. So maybe they were volunteering after the earthquake, maybe they helped their local church group, maybe they cooked and baked for people, who had no power, that kind of thing. So yeah, they are the 2 criteria. And
Darian and Michael, you've been chosen. Now let's look at what happened with you guys.
We got chosen because our dad is a firefighter here in Christchurch, and after the earthquake he was working on the recovery program, and we also lost our house.
Wow, that's a big thing, eh? And you guys had to leave town as well, didn't you? You got sent to another school?
Yeah, up in Wanamata.
Wow. What was that like for you, Michael, going to another school?
It was a bit different.
Yeah? How are things now? You're back at New Brighton Catholic?
Yeah.
How's that now?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
Getting back settled and stuff.
Back with your friends?
Yeah.
And Darian, you're sight sharing, marrying colleges with St Bede's. What's it like sharing a school with boys?
Oh, we don't really get to see them.
Oh.
Yeah, we kind of get told off if we talk to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys must keep separate.
Yeah.
Now, it must have been really hard for you guys after the quake, with your dad being, both your parents being really busy, your dad being a firefighter helping out with the earthquake. What was that like for you guys? Not having them around?
A bit scary when an aftershock would happen and they're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you contact them quite a bit just to see how they're going, or did they make contact quite a bit?
Yeah, we talked on the phone every night, and then they also came up for a weekend and
Cool.
visited.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. You guys really do deserve a break from the quake, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rebecca, what kind of things will they be getting up to when they're on their breaks? Because they're going on 2 separate camps, aren't they?
Yes, that's right. So we've got 5 different campsites altogether, and so Darian's going on a OPC Outdoor Pursuit Centre camp in Tongariro, so it's all adventure-based activities, and Michael's going on a YMCA run camp that's in the Hunua Ranges, and so and then I'm going on another camp as well. I'm going on the Youth Town camp. So, but what has happened is Youth Town has facilitated all these camps to make sure that they can happen. So and then we've got our own campsite as well, which is Auckland City based. So
wow, you guys must be really looking forward to going away.
Yeah.
Getting into school holidays. This must have been a pretty long term. The school term just finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of study
Yeah.
for exams.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's all over now, so you guys can just go up there, relax, with lots of sponsors on board.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, heaps of sponsors actually. We're really, really lucky in that respect.
Yeah.
So Auckland Zoo, Sky City, Rainbow's End, Air New Zealand, the Levine Foundation. Yeah, the list goes on and on. Lots of sponsors. Yeah. Really
It's just
good.
really cool what Youth Town is doing for these young people here in Christchurch.
Yeah.
How many young people are going away?
500 altogether.
Wow.
Yes, so 250 each week of the school holidays. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That means 500 new friends for you guys. It's quite good though that, everyone going away won't know anybody else, so you are all in the same boat and you get to know each other and have lots of fun. Darian and Michael, really good to have you on the program. I hope you have loads of fun when you head up north. Let us know how it goes, maybe afterwards. Come back in the program. Yeah?
Cool.
We'll move Rebecca out of the way and you guys can
Yeah.
have a big chat, a big goss about how it was. All right, really good to have you here. Rebecca, thanks so much what Youth Town's done for the young people of Christchurch.
No problem. Thank you.
Cool. Now, here's Jeff Morton.
Today I'm talking to Roddy about pre-arranging funerals. Why is it important, Roddy, to pre-arrange a funeral?
I could have a very glib answer there, Jeff,
sure
but
you could.
it is not. In all seriousness, excuse me, pre-arranging is probably the cheapest form in the sense that of peace of mind that people can get.
Okay.
It costs you absolutely nothing to do it.
Yes.
It's literally a conversation with yourself or with a family member who perhaps is going to have the need of a funeral at some point in time.
Yes.
Which, if I'm being honest, is everybody.
Absolutely.
All right. So it's a conversation you can have with everybody. Every now and again, we'll do it across a dinner party, just for a laugh, and say, okay, are you for burial or are you for cremation?
Right.
And the conversation will just fly, and people have all opinions in the world.
Which you do?
Yeah, you do, and often they're very surprising.
I'm sure.
And my wife and I, when I wind her up, I say, look, when I want to be cremated and I want to be scattered. And well, she's absolutely adamant that she wants a grave to visit. All right, so you want to. So these are the conversations that we encourage people to have.
So you have it around the family?
Absolutely. I think it's one of those things where sons and daughters or should have it with parents, and parents should have it with sons and daughters. And it's not one that you want to leave for a long time. Okay. It's a little bit like wills. Mm-hmm. We all should have one. If we don't have one, we should get one. If we have got one, we should update it.
Absolutely.
Because it makes life easier down the track.
Yes.
Let me put it to you this way. Someone in your family dies.
Right.
Everyone gathers, often from overseas. There's immense stress. There's the grieving process that's going on. People are not making the most rational decisions.
No.
There are all sorts of emotions that involve, ranging from love, anger, denial, grief. All of these things impinge on our decision-making process.
So the tension is there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And we're expecting people to make quite strong financial decisions about how much money they're going to spend, venues, catering, all these sorts of things, where it would be smarter if we'd had this conversation 5 years ago,
Exactly.
written it down with the person that we're actually honouring.
Yes.
And so what are their wishes? Did they have some hymns they wanted to sing? Was there some special music? Did they want to have a simple service, or were they looking for that elaborate pageant?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we talk about honouring those who we've lost.
Exactly.
We talk about celebrating a life. So I think it would make sense that at least they have some input in it, even if it's simple questions like burial versus cremation.
Right.
If they're talking whether or not they want catering or not, whether they want to have it in a church or in a hall or an open air service.
Yes.
Very simple questions. So what we do as a company is people ring us up and say, okay, we're interested in this and we want to know more about it. So we send them out an information pack, big stack of information, with a little booklet that they can work through with their family members and just write down the simple answers to the basic questions, and it covers 90% of the things that we need to know as funeral directors when the event happens. The event happens, they come back to us, they drop the booklet into us, and we go, great, there's a fantastic starting point. Then we look at it and go, okay, is there anything changed? Is there anything? We can also give people estimates, and all of this is free of charge. There's no money changes hands. We're just wanting you to actually engage in the conversation with your family and think about it so that when the time comes, a bit of the weight's taken off your shoulders.
Exactly. Well, off the people that are left.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you can do it with the family, you can come and see you directly.
Absolutely.
Or you can put it into your will with your solicitor.
That's correct, and we suggest that you do that. And also, if you're looking for information on a variety of services that are offered by funeral companies in general, not just us, you can give us a ring and we're more than happy to send that information out to you, or bring it in person and have a cup of tea and go over some things with you. Look, and funerals are important.
Of course.
So we should plan for them.
Yes.
They're a little bit like weddings. They're stressful.
Oh, yes.
They can be I shouldn't say a lot of fun, but they can be very enjoyable if they're done right, and they can be absolutely terrible if they're done wrong.
True.
And generally the difference between the two is planning.
True. One chap that, a funeral we went to, he had specified, have a party.
Absolutely.
Not a wake, have a party. Enjoy it on me. And he'd left that specifically aside in his will.
And often people get immense satisfaction for adhering to the wishes of the deceased. All right? They feel it's the last good thing they can do for them. Of course. And they walk away with that sense of completion and of honouring, and really, actually, at the end of the day, we should enjoy this process because we don't have a choice about whether it's going to happen.
No.
Let's not make it any more painful than it already is.
It's going to happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Roddy.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And there we have it. Canterbury Christian Funeral Services, 208 Limited. You'll find them at 2424 Sheffield Crescent, Burnside, Christchurch, 35 888 07, and they're open 24 hours.
You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome Sarah from Cholmondeley. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good
now
to
tell
be
me
here.
about Cholmondeley.
Cholmondeley is a children's charity that's been around for about 85 years, and it's the only one of its kind actually in New Zealand. And that's really because it offers residential care for children, but for a short period of time. So people often think residential care means they're in there for a really long time, you know, lock the door, throw away the key, and that's not at all how Cholmondeley operates. So we're always trying to get people to understand that, because they often think Cholmondeley's a bit like an orphanage or a place where naughty children go, and it certainly isn't. It's actually quite cutting edge in regard to what it does and the service it offers children and families. Yep.
Now, it's one of its kind in New Zealand, and also, well, it's the only one in New Zealand, and one of very few internationally.
Exactly, which is really unusual. And there's a couple of things there, like Cholmondeley is not captured by the government, so Cholmondeley is primarily community funded. So if you think about all the donations that people would give us, or different trusts, things like that, so 80% of our funding comes from the community. So what it means is we don't have to operate in the same way that, say, a government organisation that's caring for children would. And then with that, we've got 85 years of history of this amazing place that's looked after over 25,000 children, and, you know, and primarily Cantabrians. And so I go out and meet these people sometimes in the course of, you know, trying to get supporters for Cholmondeley. And it's an incredible thing,
Now, you say you've had over 25,000 young people through the children's Is it a home? You don't call it a home?
We don't call it a children's home, and the reason is it's a negative connotation that makes people think of an orphanage, and it's an old-fashioned word, and it's not about valuing children. When you talk about a children's home, they come for short periods of time, then they go home, and they develop strategies at Cholmondeley to handle the home environment better. So, yeah, it's not a children's home.
So what do you call it?
We call it Cholmondeley.
Cholmondeley?
Yeah, Cholmondeley.
Okay.
And sometimes we do refer to the home as, I mean, the actual house part of it as a house, because it is a house. Yeah. But we certainly wouldn't say Cholmondeley Children's Home. Or we say charity, Cholmondeley Children's Charity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've had 25,000 young people go through there. I mean, the success stories that have come out of it. Do you? I mean, is it a privilege of yours to know some of those stories? Yeah, and the worst thing is I'm told them by people who don't necessarily want to retell the story publicly, you know, because it's a very painful memory. It can be, not because of what their experience at Cholmondeley was like, but what was happening in their life at the time. Like some incredible people you meet, business people who are very successful, who've stayed there. Yeah, it's incredible. And do they like to say? Do they willingly say that they went to Cholmondeley?
They tell you. You get to a certain point and you can almost feel there's something about to happen or be said. Yeah, it's really unusual. It's honestly happened so many times.
That's amazing.
Like a guy owns about 19 different businesses in Christchurch. You know, he actually went through. Oh, sorry, his children went through, and you'd never know. Never ever know. And he had just had a difficult time in his marriage where the children were under stress and they needed to get out of that environment. It's incredible.
Now, where do you get your sponsorship from, your support?
Yeah, from so many different places. So we're lucky enough to have the support of CTV, so we have different relationships like that, which is really good. We have corporate sponsors like PricewaterhouseCoopers, the Fendleton Eye Clinic, you know, all these different people, even like Littleton Engineering and Littleton Pork Company. And then you've got like an individual, you know, someone who might operate out of New Zealand, you know, who has this attachment or this caring or this connection to Cholmondeley. So, and Ma and Pa sitting at home, a little child who wants to help, you know, and wants to make a difference to other children. It's just really, really incredible, yeah.
And I remember a couple of years ago when I used to work in radio, I organised a big morning tea.
Yeah, that's coming up, Canterbury's biggest morning tea. Yeah.
That was in Latimer Square, and I got everybody from the radio network and everybody from AMI, and we all from, you know, the Latimer Square area, we all had a massive morning tea in the Latimer Square, raised some money for Cholmondeley. So good to hear it's coming up.
That's you doing the raising. And it was about 20 grand a year we get out of that event. It's massive. The community is incredible in Canterbury.
Yeah. All right, so what are some of the fundraising ideas that are coming up?
So coming up is Canterbury's biggest morning tea. So this will be the 11th year. And that is on the 15th of August. So we'll send out registration packs and things like that for that. And that's sponsored by PricewaterhouseCoopers. And we've got a Care magazine, so our direct mail is coming out in August as well at the end. And then we've got a ball, the Rotary Ball, the Christchurch City Rotary Ball. And that's going to be at the Wigram Air Force Museum. And it's on the 3rd of September, and tables are $2,000 or $200 per head for a table of 10. It's going to be brilliant. So it won't be all themed, and it's not going to be over the top. We want to do it more about the cause this time, which is about really raising money for the kids. So it's all good.
That'll be fun. So it's going to be a massive ball. So everyone's going to be ball gowns.
Beautiful ball gowns, dressed up, but it will not have a big theme. So it will just be a stunning room, beautiful, just a lovely night.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's
you can come. We'll have
it's September the 3rd.
Yeah.
Oh,
that'd be good.
What am I going to wear?
I know.
For the children. For the children. Yeah. So where can we find out more about Cholmondeley?
Our website, so www.cholmondeley.org.nz. And Cholmondeley is spelt differently than it's pronounced, so it's a little bit unusual. It's actually Old English. That's Queen's English. Cholmondeley, and it comes from Lord Cholmondeley overseas, and there's still a family there. And they have like the pageant of power, kind of the massive car races and stuff, and they do heaps of fundraising over there in England. And his family actually is, the people that set Cholmondeley up in the beginning.
How cool is that?
I know.
All right, I'm saving September the 3rd.
Please do. It'll be lovely to see you.
Full dress. Okay. Sarah, good to have you on the programme.
Thank you.
Now, finally on the programme, Canterbury Celbration Theatre, the big marquee in Hagley Park, is up and running, and I have Cameron Clayton here from... Which show are you from?
I'm from Don't Have Any More, Mrs. Moore.
It's so good to have you back here in Christchurch.
It's good to be back.
You disappeared a couple of years ago?
I've been away for 6 years now.
Has it been that long?
It's been that long.
It feels just like yesterday.
Exactly.
Actually, no, time has not flown. It's been a hard time. Now, tell me about Don't Have Any More, Mrs. Moore.
Well, it's Echoes of the Music Hall, so it's based on the English music hall between 1850 and 1919. It's basically a variety concert. There's a lot of jokes and fun and a lot of singing and little sing-alongs and everything. It's a lot of fun to come to.
So did they have to rope you to come back down to Christchurch, or were you actually quite willingly putting up your hand?
I was quite happy to come to Christchurch. I've been trying to find a reason to come back as soon as possible, but it was just a great opportunity that I was very happy to take up.
OK, so let's look at the season, the run of the season.
Yes. Well, we've got 3 more shows left on Thursday, Friday and Saturday from the 21st to the 23rd. 8:30 p.m, apart from the Saturday, which is 6 p.m. And we've had 3 shows now, and yeah.
Cool. Now, have they been good audiences so far?
Yeah, very responsive audiences. They had a lot of fun. Opening night was great. They got into it. It took them a wee while, but they got there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of audience participation in the show as well, which makes it a lot more fun for everyone.
OK, so how did the show come about?
The show came about, I believe, our director, Kelvin Badley, was asked to do the show by Red Rose Dinner Theatre and just to basically put on a show. I'm not sure how he came about doing it, but...
Yeah. So you obviously made that contact before you left. You skipped town.
Yes, yes. Well, I got called randomly. I think Kevin came and saw me in a show that I was in Auckland, and found out that I knew Ben, who's also our pianist, through another facet and through country music. So yeah, it was. I got emailed and thought, great, why not? Get back to Christchurch.
Yeah, and so this is the first time you've been back since the earthquakes?
Yes. First time.
What's it like coming back? I mean, you've lived here before.
It's devastating, just to have all the memories that you have of such a beautiful city and then to see all the destruction. And the first day we were here, someone took me around the city just to have a look, and it was heart-wrenching just to see buildings being torn down, and there was one that got torn down right in front of us, and just seeing people's personal belongings still in the buildings, and it was heart-wrenching, definitely.
Now, well, it's a really good time to have the Canterbury Celbration Theatre now, isn't it?
Yes.
Pick everybody else up in Christchurch up and, you know, entertain them.
Absolutely, give them something to think about and just take them away from everything and let them have a good time for a good 2 hours.
Now, what's the marquee like?
The marquee's great. It's a nice little circus tent, and the heater is extremely warm, which is fantastic. They're selling mulled wine, which I'm sure keeps everyone warm as well. But it's a great little tent to perform in. It's been a lot of fun, and I've never performed in a tent in my life, so it's a lot of fun.
It's not a tent, it's a marquee.
It's a marquee, sorry. Sorry, yes.
Now, some other good shows you've been to, some other good shows that are coming up at the Canterbury Celbration Theatre?
Yeah, there's, I believe there's a Vegas show coming, which I'm quite excited to see.
Tim Beveridge.
Yes, so that should be really, really interesting. And there's been a few shows going on that I've heard great reviews for, and unfortunately I haven't had the time to see most of them, but I hear they're going really, really well.
Yeah, you will on your days off.
Exactly, whenever that will be.
All right, Cameron, really good to have you on the programme.
Thank you.
Good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
You can get tickets. You can call the box office at Canterbury Celbration Theatre. That's 332 0039, 332 0039. Best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Now, that is City Life for today. Now, I said last week that we are now having a segment for community notices, and you can get in touch with me and let me know what's going on in your community. And also, because it's school holidays, I've got a couple of canvases left. If anybody, any young person out there would like to paint a canvas for the background behind me here and sit there for a couple of days, then let me know. Now, you can get in touch with me for both community notices and for the canvases. Canetta@ctv.co.nz. You can give Marianne a call, 3777 033. Now, if there's anybody you would like to hear from on City Life, why don't you let us know as well, Canetta@ctv.co.nz, or of course just some feedback for the show. Now, that is City Life for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.